Well, let's start the spooky game.
Time for...
Please start. Is my browser? No. Okay. Make sure my cursor isn't showing. Okay, we did it. Alright, game over. The sound was driving him crazy. Monotonous, muffled thuds were resonating throughout his head with a dull pain. Can I hit spacebar to go forward? I can!
Yes!
The pain wasn't too strong, nothing unbearable. But that sound. More than anything else, he just wanted it to just stop. But nevertheless, the knocking sounds didn't end. He knew it well enough, because he himself was their origin. Thud. Em, you gotta do the thuds for me.
Foot. Foot. Foot.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, he's got Vegemite. It's Australian.
Maybe. The nose of his slipper was hitting the rear of his desk over and over again, like a huge fluffy moth frantically ramming against the window glass. He wanted plenty of things. He wanted to pay the rent in time this month? Yeah, I guess it works. Not to displease his landlady again. He wanted to finish the script, at least in draft, because a draft is way better than nothing, something one can work with. And he wanted to sleep. No, not quite that. The problem, a serious one, was that he didn't really want to sleep. He leaned back in his chair and rubbed his shut eyes, pressing his eyeballs until dancing pale lights appeared. Of course, he took sleeping pills. When a healthy 8-hour sleep gives way to a not-so-healthy 5-hour nap, then a 3-hour eyes shut break, and then goes away entirely, you stop thinking how this will impact your liver. You just want to sleep. You need to sleep, especially if you have already taken an advance payment for that first part of a gig, and the goddamn text won't just write itself. However, if the text could, in fact, write itself somehow, he would probably lose his job. He didn't have any illusions in this regard. As soon as neural networks get smart enough, he and dozens of other ghostwriters will vanish into morning mist of a new era in literature. Sorry, Ghost, you gotta go. Bye, Ghost.
My God.
What's going on, Ballmung? Did you get anything fancy? No. He didn't have much of a name or connections, only some skill and a knack to meet the deadlines for the most part. The client was content with this.
Oh, so Ghost True Horror AI writing.
And he was content with the pay, so everything went well until the pills started failing him.
Bang!
This time the tic got too strong. His foot jerked and hit the board with very noticeable pain. It seemed like he even heard his toes crack. He muttered a short curse and rolled the chair away from the desk, although he knew, now that his attention was not fixed on the blank text file, the tic should go away all by itself. It's funny how the consciousness is detached from the body. He often thought about it, especially while having insomnia. It's like you're working as a team, but your partner starts pulling something. You seem to have common goals, but when all hell breaks loose, you are suddenly left alone with it, and your partner is more interested in watching the fire than fighting it. In the end, you have no idea what's on his mind. Well, at least there won't be any more knocking. Good.
Knock, knock, knock.
Damn, they said no more.
There's more!
A small window at the far side of the room flashed white for a moment. A storm? Now that he thought about it, the day was hot. The viscous, stagnant air still filled the room. This, and the barely audible squeak of an overheated network filter. He became sensitive to such things when he couldn't sleep for a long time. Made the entire room seem to vibrate a little. It's like Gum's room. Like a cocoon that's about to hatch. Actually, that did sound like a good line. He rolled back to the table and was about to write that thought down, but paused over the keyboard. He remembered the individual words and general idea, but the sentence had already slipped away.
Aww.
This time, the white light seemed to fill the entire room. Then a thunder followed, resembling a low-gut roar of something large and famished. And M with the police siren.
Oh, yeah. So, the place I live is next door to an ambulance and fire station, and they are always going off. They're very nice and don't go off at night, but throughout the day, get your we use them, boys.
Good lord. That wasn't the thing, I'm not saying that to you.
Oh, you know you're fine.
He called to God way too often for someone who never goes to church, just a habit he inherited from his mother. A furious patter of raindrops pounded on his window. There's no way he could work like this. Not now. But maybe it's for the best. Since he was a little boy, he slept well during the storms. Had to seize the moment. He groped for a packer of sleeping pills. Packer? Probably packet. It's maybe, I don't know. It's nice to have your working tools at hand. Popped the pills into his mouth and opened the window to hear the steady patter of the rain. Then he went to the bed and collapsed on top of the bed sheets, his clothes still on. If this was the adult version, we'd have no clothes on. And he would windmill his way over to the bed. Or helicopter, you know. He could tell by the sound the water had flooded the windowsill and was trickling down to the floor. He decided that was a small price to pay. He felt a pleasant chill of cloth beneath his cheek. The wavering haze was gradually fading from the room, yet the sleep did not come. He tried to take off his shoes, change position, take a pillow, cover himself, throw the pillow away to the other side of the room. Nothing helped.
But did he try taking off his clothes?
Did he try just smiling more? He just laid there with his eyes closed, and though his closed eyelids felt heavy, he knew it was an illusion, all in vain. He's not sleeping. He can't sleep. It was a little trippy.
That was a fun.
At first, he thought he was imagining things.
Fun.
Sometimes the knocking paused, but it never stopped completely. The sound came from below, from the first floor. Someone was banging incessantly on the door. God, I wish I was that door. And with each thud, he could feel the rage building up like a tight knot of pain around his stomach. He is trying to sleep. Is it really that hard to just leave a man alone? I feel that one. That actually made me mad. At least at night. At least in the house that he pays for specifically so that no one would bother him. He opened his eyes, easy, just as he thought, sprang to his feet and ran down the stairs. Something was boiling inside of him. Halfway to the door, he took a turn to the cupboard and pulled out an old baseball bat. It wasn't likely to actually use it. He asked himself if he would, as he reached for the door handle. No, he certainly wouldn't, but he's angry, and he wants the night guest to learn it. What the hell? The rain was still pouring, or rather, it was actually getting stronger, as his mother would say, and the floodgates of heaven tore open. His mother used to say a lot of things.
I'll kill you myself.
Well, that was a creepy one to go on there. That was on the list of reasons why he had to rent this overpriced house where anyone could start banging on the door in the middle of the night. A cat, for example. What the hell?
Sure was the cat.
He said it again, this time aloud. The cat was standing on his porch. She looked like a purebred British shorthair in all respects except for the color. Aside from the smoky gray head, it seems as if she was dropped into a vat of white paint, while her lower part was dipped into a black one. Wet fur clung to her small, rather skinny body, dripping with water. The cat could have probably slipped into the house as soon as the door opened, but instead she froze, as if waiting for the host to say something. Should we...
Let her in.
Oh, you want to refuse and just have the game end right there?
So long as we can reset.
And or gets banged more than... We'll let her in.
Like,
Raining cats and dogs. I think this would be a very short stream if we didn't let her in. It was cold outside. Much colder than one might think. He didn't feel angry anymore.
yeah, the big booby cat lady. Yeah, sorry, please don't come in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright,
game over.
come in. He steps aside, freeing the doorway. The cat didn't move. So you don't want to, huh? He was about to say fine then and close the door, go back to the second floor and lie in a suffocating half-sleep until morning. But he finally realized what was wrong. The bat. He threw it away aiming for the sofa but missed. The bat clattered on the floorboards. The cat followed it into the darkness with her round yellow eyes. The sounds didn't frighten her. He sighed. I won't hurt you. Come in if you want. The cat raised her eyes at him. For the first time he actually saw and couldn't help admiring how big and yellow they were. The cat's pupils were also large and incredibly round, like 2 full moons in an eclipse.
Not only think that's large.
And round.
Ew.
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 Just as he was about to close the door for the second time, the cat murmured something and fluttered into the house, butting him with her wet head as she passed by. He smiled. Strictly speaking, at this very moment, his life had ended. His line has ended. If the landlady found out, and he was sure she would, he'd have to look for a new place to live. There are plenty of lonely, bored seniors in the neighborhood, he thought. And they only have two hobbies, observing and reporting. The subject and recipient aren't that important. I hate old people.
Oh.
Bunch of narcs. That's why they get hit with bagels. Well, it's fine. Maybe he'd leave the suburbs. Maybe he'd move to an apartment, since him getting privacy didn't work out anyway. The rain was getting stronger still. This guy's having like a fucking fit for someone knocking on the door. He closed the door.
He is.
The cat explored the house with cautious curiosity, stopping by different objects as if to understand their purpose. Watching that was amusing, so amusing he even forgot about the stain. When he remembered, it had already spread out, a dark spot of water in the place where the cat clung to him.
Okay.
He pulled the wet cloth away from his body and stared at it blankly for a moment, then almost groaned aloud. The cat was soaked, so she probably got a lot of dirt in the house. He decided not to turn on the light. He had enough disappointment for the night.
Aww.
Story of my life. Instead, he went to get a towel. Alright, come here. What you're gonna do with that towel is you're gonna squish that cat.
What you gonna do? Grab a towel. Push that cat.
The cat.
Also, for a moment there, I thought she was like, doing typical cat things where she'll wait at the door, not come in, meow to want to come in, and then piss on the carpet. So, cat.
Perfect. This is a 10 for 10 accurate cat game. The cat turned her head to the voice and froze in place. She examined the TV, a lifeless black mirror of a plasma panel in a lacquer frame that he haven't even touched since moving in. I think that's not proper. What did you do? In the reflection, the cat herself looked black. She gave him a long, appraising look and then, with a sudden eagerness, trotted towards him, deftly avoiding the obstacles. He was surprised. Maybe the cat decided he was more interesting than the TV, or maybe he acted out of respect for her host's will. Anyway, he felt grateful. Finally, someone he can actually negotiate with. Suddenly he thought about how nice it would be to crawl under the blanket with a warm ball of fur. We're going to be banging cats. It would surely have helped him to fall asleep. As a child, he had a cat, gray, huge, brash, immensely ugly, and equally beloved. He often fell asleep hugging it. I know, that sounds cute. The cat's name was Timo, and he faded into a June night many years ago.
Aww.
The cat bumped her wet head against him once more. He thought that cats usually shake off the water themselves. I have no clue. Usually, but perhaps not always. Hey, easy there, you're all wet. The cat looked up at him with her moon-shaped eyes and murmured something again. You're the cat.
Do something about it then.
He smiled and got to work. He had to squeeze the fur thoroughly, so the towel soon turned into a wet rag. Should he? Bathe the cat? Doesn't matter. What are we doing, Em?
Bathe the cat!
That won't do. I'll give you a bath. He carried her to the bathroom. The cat stayed still in his arms, a warm and incredibly light body pressed against his chest. He was expecting the cat to bring out the claws any moment. Maybe as he opens the door. Now. Or as he turns on the light. Maybe this time. But nothing happened. The cat glanced around the new room and looked at him with her intelligent, almost human-like gaze. Not a single muscle in her small body moved. Just how I like it. She was curious, and that's about it. Oh, a wild meow stick appears.
Oh, yeah!
Sorry, that kind of ruins the moment of the game, but we're not into anything spooky yet. She trusts me. He was about to ask her if she knows where they were and what was going to happen next, but that was just too much. So, it shouldn't be very difficult. The two of us can manage this. What do you think? You read somewhere a cat should get used to new surroundings before bathing.
Okay, so why are we bathing?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fear is born out of the unknown, and in that regard, people haven't gone too far from cats. New scents, unfamiliar objects, and the splashing of water. These are just shadows under the bed that will fall back if you get a better look at them. He carefully put the cat on the floor. She looked around the room again and returned her questioning eyes to him. It seemed like she got comfortable enough. He turned on the water in the shower and felt a gentle touch. The cat was already loitering around his feet. She was curious indeed. The shower isn't so bad as compared to the rain, is it? The joke came out a little awkward. He felt embarrassed and he didn't know why.
Yes!
No.
So guys, you might not get to see, but we get to see the LC
Whoa.
later on.
Oh, okay, there we go. No, I'm fine. I have streamer mode and the... Do I have to click anything? I'm afraid to click more. We're going to jail, guys.
We are going to jail.
There's no prompt.
So we're just looking at...
Oh, I can move it.
Oh, okay. Cloud jail.
I can't look. She's just a cat.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Phew.
Maybe it was because of how the water glistened on her skin or how she was looking at him from under half-lowered lashes. She was actually watching. He met her eyes, and each time felt shame burn through him. But that shame was thick. It's sweet. So thick. He was a little dizzy. His hands stood over her smooth, wet skin, and each time he would ask himself, was it really necessary? So many good thicks, thank you. Then he would feel her eyes on him, and his thoughts would melt, running down her thighs with the lather, disappearing between her neat toes.
What?
He's got a toe fetish. I mean, he's banging cats and toes. Perfect. The bathroom shimmered, molten, bright, pulsating with light. Or darkness? What? He felt he was losing his balance, and pulled his hand away, but she returned and pressed it to the wet, hot skin covered in soapy veil. This is supposed to be horror. I'm sorry, okay? I read horror.
We are 10 minutes in, and there are boobies in our face.
Maybe it was a horror with a W? She guided it. Yeah, there you go. You'll have cats, cat will love you back. That's a good achievement. He couldn't remember how he ended up in the living room again. The cat was napping peacefully in his arms. He absently ran his hand down the cat's wet back, tracing the bumps of her spine with his fingers. I should get you some food. Let me see what I have. He got up, with just a tad bit difficulty, nothing he couldn't handle. Still, his body felt unusually heavy and unwieldy. He had to give the cat something to eat. He will lie down afterwards and then, maybe he'll even fall asleep. Maybe he should have gotten a cat from much earlier. A ball of fur with a pair of moon eyes and a velvety voice that you can always negotiate with. And that's about it. It's kind of funny. You could have avoided all that suffering if only you had a cat. I think a lot of people are going to be too old for the cat came back. The kitchen blurred before his eyes. He got to the refrigerator.
Oh, you're saying people might be too old for the cat came back? You might have to show me that then.
Oh, it's been a lot of things. Like one's a couple songs. There's some usually horror things with the cat came back, rhymes and stuff. He got to the refrigerator and opened it, squinting from the light and leaning on the door way harder than he was supposed to. If the landlady was around at that time, she would have told him exactly so. Don't lean on the door. After all, this is her house and her refrigerator, and everything should be neat and tidy in case she was to move new tenants in. Perhaps the landlady would have even warned him about the milk. The milk itself is completely harmless, unless, of course, you are allergic to lactose. But there's a special kind of lactose-free milk, right? What matters is the bottle. Bottles, much like cats, can vary greatly, but this particular one was made of glass. If only the landlady was here, she would have probably told him not to touch the bottle because he's falling on the floor, and the bottle might break, and then the milk will spill. And he'll have nothing to feed the nice cat he found, or rather, it was her who found him, and very timely, because he was lying on the floor.
What?
He had been lying there for some time, and he would have been lying still if he hadn't felt the light touches something hot and rough on his cheek. It was almost like a dream, although of course comparing sleep with fainting isn't quite correct, no matter how you look at it. The floor beneath him was surprisingly hard, cold, and wet. So he felt all those three qualities clearly and was afraid to imagine what would happen if he tried to move. But he had to move, one way or another. At least to see what's up, because something hot and rough was still sliding up his cheek, gradually creeping up to his ear. He felt a warm breath and then a cautious bite.
Oh.
With playful music? Ouch! He jumped on the spot. The shadow rushed to the side and then calmly began to lap milk up from a puddle. Oh, they covered up her butt.
Oh. Why would they cover up the butt?
This is supposed to be screamer mode, so it's no nudity and stuff.
No. Okay. They should cover the butt.
I know. God, I wish I was that milk.
Ken!
What?
Be nice.
The cat. What are you doing? The cat looked at him briefly and licked her lips.
No need this dramatic.
Hold on, just saving a picture. Ah, fuck.
You're lying about Eileen and you're not even cat, see? Besides, so
Well, you're right. I let you down and had to get my punishment. I let myself down too. Good lord, now there's cleaning to do until the next advent, like his mother would say. I'll go grab a rag. Sit here and don't ruin what's left of the kitchen while I'm gone. And the cat watched him go with a skeptical look.
Aren't you the one who's been causing all the trouble so far?
When he returned with the bucket, the cat was gone.
Where is she now?
She's gonna go shit on the carpet. I knew it. The theater of... presents... How to bake...
Blank?
I think he's going insane. In the kitchen, something insane is happening. Take... You will need a blade. Okay, yeah, he's going insane. Did you take the pills? Scratch out the entrails? The Egyptians would use honey for embalming and preserving food. Later, the recipes were adopted by the Greeks. Add a teaspoon of apricot jam, a walnut, and a little cinnamon. Before baking, put a teaspoon of butter on top of the... Microwave for 5 to 7 minutes at full power. Drugs are bad, cat girls are good. It's true. Don't listen to them scream. Bon appetit.
What the
Okay,
fuck
well
is going on?
that was a little creepy at least.
Yeah.
Anytime there's sock puppets, it's gonna
Did
be...
you put the cat in a microwave?
Don't worry about it. The next time you saw her was in a few days, or maybe in a week. You know, he always had a bad sense of time, especially when he was immersed in his work. He still couldn't sleep, but at least he was making some progress with the script. It was a narrative game project, as the customers called it, but actually it meant do whatever you have to finish on time, else forget about the payment. And so he did, although he was resentful and that got in the way a lot. The reason of those feelings was the cat. He knew how stupid that was, but he couldn't help it. He forgave her for the bite almost immediately. That wasn't the thing. He was bitter about how the cat ran away, despite him trying his best to take care of her. He was nowhere to be found in the house, so she was nowhere to be found in the house, so he immediately thought about an open window on the second floor. Maybe he should have closed it. He dwelled on the thought for a while. He even approached the window at some point, but in the end he decided not to do anything about it. He was hoping, And there was no shame in that. It's not the same as you turn up 10 and start eyeing girls. The cat would come back. And she did? Yes.
Yes.
He had just settled himself on the sofa with some book. Some was the word, as he couldn't remember a thing from the cover, even though he read the title several times. The symbols were floating before his eyes, and of course he couldn't make out a word. No wonder, considering he didn't sleep at all. When you think about it, it was a surprise he could write in this state. He wasn't writing, though. Either way, he was barely following the book, so he wasn't upset at all when a fluffy head butted his hand. Hey, I'm trying to read here.
Aww. Josie, getting.
You cut out a lot.
Oh, do I? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Speak up,
And
woman.
you go. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah,
And you don't seem to be getting anywhere.
where's your microphone?
I don't know. What does it matter, anyways? Better scratch me right here. Oh.
Aw, he complied. Pat the cat. So
Pat?
you're,
Completed.
so you're a pat cutter. You were absent for so long. I thought you won't be back.
Then why didn't you close the window upstairs?
There was a big difference between expectations and hopes. He had learned that well. Why did you leave? Did I do anything wrong? The cat stayed silent. Bitterness or happiness?
Why don't you pick this one?
I don't
Let me toss it.
understand the choice.
I'm assuming it's probably how we react to her coming back, I guess? I don't know.
Or the whole thing. Like, are we bitter she left, or are we happy she returned?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is. Yeah.
Oh. Wait, can I move this thing? Oh, I can't. I'd be happy. Alright, it doesn't matter that much. I'm happy to have you back. After all, there was no point in his grudge from the start. Nobody gains anything by holding on to small grudges and staying blind to what they really feel. He wouldn't have won anything. It's not a damn lottery. The cat rubbed against his arm again. He put the book down and gently placed her on his lap. The locket around her neck, unexpectedly cold, touched his skin. Then he got a hunch. Did you go home?
I have no home.
Well, someone must be caring for you if they put the collar on.
Sometimes a collar is just a collar. Don't you know?
This time, it was him who stayed silent. The cat buried her head into his stomach. Want me to take it off?
No. It's mine now. Besides, it's easier this way if I catch someone's eye on the street.
I'm gonna turn the...
I'll go turn up the voice acting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He nodded because, if you think about it, that really was a reasonable choice. The cat's fur was thick and smooth,
Erk.
very pleasant to the touch. He wanted to bury his face in it, find out what it smelled like. What she smells like. Do you have a
Not
name?
before I snippy. Of course. Everything has a name.
And what's yours? The cat looked at him carefully with her bright yellow eyes as if saying, take a guess. But she didn't actually say anything. On her locket was a small engraving, a crescent moon that was dimly shining in the pale light coming out of the window. Selene. The cat looked up at him, and her pupils flickered into 2 full moons in an eclipse. Then she rubbed against his arm one last time and stood up, stretching, arching her back.
Don't close the window on the second floor.
I won't. Tell me what to do, you're a goddamn cat. She left, but the name stayed with him, in and around the house. Selene. So hummed the glass, white in the moonlight. So whispered the long shadows of the branches outside the window. Focus on the name. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Up to you.
Which one do you want?
I mean, if I were to vote, focus on the name.
Okay. You're voting on all of them, so.
Okay.
What is Selene? For some reason, the question bothered him. He vaguely remembered it had something to do with the mythology. Such things never really caught his interest, but fortunately he knew someone who he could turn to. If you want to, of course. You don't have to.
Okay with that. I'll do the voting. Oh. What are we doing?
Those curtains?
I guess. Meanie.
Super pouty.
So pouty.
You know I can't stand them. And you know, it's me who will take care of it after all. You're basically living in the office. Ethan never liked cats. And dogs, too. Not much of a difference. He didn't like the very idea of keeping a predator at home, even a small one. He couldn't quite explain why. Hope sighed. She closed the tab with the Cattery's website, then slapped her husband lightly on the shoulder. Even so, the faces of the Persian cats, deeply depressed and equally concave, still lingered before his mind's eye. Ethan held up his hands in a conciliatory gesture. He knew it wasn't over yet. Hope is not the one to give in this easily. She never was. And for him, there was something incredibly appealing about it. I can think of two great things she has. For qualities, come to think of it, quite possibly it'll be him who capitulates in the end. In a relationship, you always have to sacrifice something. In 4.5 years, or even 5, according to Hope, he had learned this quite well. Suddenly Hope frowned, looking at the screen.
Seems like he got an email from, damn, a tough one. I can't quite read it. It just hit your work mailbox.
Let me see. I hope I got a new project. The Middle Ages are fine and all, but they are about to start pouring out of my ears. Ethan reached for his laptop, but Hope grabbed it and dodged him.
Right. Why do we talk contracts on Sunday? So, which one of us is all work and no play?
Well, such are the benefits of freelance. Come on, give it back. Hope giggled and leaned over the armrest hanging over the floor. Hope's defenses withstood several more attacks. Each time Ethan thought the laptop would definitely hit the floor. Then she gave Ethan a peck on the cheek and slid off the couch. The laptop returned to its owner.
Alright, I give up.
I mean, what if they'll... Oh, that's you, actually. Go ahead.
I mean, what if they'll actually give you a new contract, but on the same old Middle Ages? Now, that would be a twist.
Sorry about that. Yeah, a hilarious one. I guess we're named Ethan. But there was nothing about the Middle Ages in the letter, not to mention the payment either. Ethan read it several times. Leaving the formalities aside, there was but one question in the letter. Ethan, or rather the part of him that was responsible for finding the accurate answers, got immediately engaged by the wording. What is Selene? Ethan rolled that question around in his mouth, as if tasting it. At a glance, the answer was simple. Ethan's real passion was the early Renaissance, but he was a history consultant after all. At least he liked to think of himself that way. The agency was paying him for a reason. He needed no research to tell that Selene was the goddess of the moon in the ancient Greece. The question, however, seemed to be way more intricate in its nature, or at least that's what Ethan wanted to think, because the Middle Ages were actually about to start pouring out of his ears. He was always diving into his work completely, and living in an age where madness, curse, and death are contagious in an exhausting trial. He needed some distraction. Of course, he had a part-time job with those online courses, but the platform where he lectured wasn't planning anything new just yet. All in all, the request looked interesting, if not for one small matter, the payment, or rather, the lack thereof. Ethan hesitated. The sender's name seemed familiar. He searched the email address and found that they worked together on a couple of texts. Both times his efforts were duly paid for by the agency. Ethan never worked for free. It wasn't his principle, but rather a matter of necessity. The problem here was the fact that Ethan loved what he was doing too much, and if you try to make money from what you love, that's a slippery slope. A free service there, an unpaid consultation here, and then you would go back to splitting the sheet protectors 8 hours a day, watching your dreams rust away. Besides, Ethan didn't want to let Hope down. Of course, she supported him when he decided to go freelance, but Ethan never wanted to take advantage of that. No, that won't do. He works only under contract and does not give free consultations. Just as he's about to give that response, Hope's fair head popped from behind the door.
来ないの?
Are you coming?
Sorry. On the walk, Hope brought up the cat thing a few more times. Ethan protested absently. His thoughts went back to the letter again and again, to that question. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted to find the answer. It was no longer a matter of helping an acquaintance whose name Ethan immediately forgot. No, it was Ethan himself who needed a little help with distraction, and an answer. That was a weird thing to do, but Ethan waited until Hope was fast asleep. Only then did he sneak over to his laptop and write a response. Certainly, he had no real answer as of yet. He threw in a few dozen polite words, the general meaning of which was he had taken up the case. Then he clicked send. When Ethan returned to bed, Hope was still breathing slow and deep. He listened to her breath for a while, trying not to think that he had broken his own rule. After all, he really needed a distraction. No matter the strength of your affection, sooner or later you will want to take a break. It was another thing he had learned over the past 4.5 years.
What's it gonna be?
Oh. If Ethan had to point out when things started to be off, he would say it was on Saturday. That is, about a week after the first weather. But this, of course, wouldn't be accurate. Those weird things started happening almost immediately after he pressed the send button.
And
The first night he saw a room in his dreams.
oh, that's
A chipped white ceiling and similarly rough walls lit with fluorescent lamps. Ethan couldn't see the lamps themselves, but he recognized the cold, shimmering light. They often used those lamps in the offices. The light filled the room to the brim. Ethan thought about it was about to burst, and then the light would splash all over the room, just like the juice from a squished tomato. Why'd they make the couch look creepy?
I don't know.
Kind of a creepy couch. Anything with a fisheye lens looks creepy.
Yeah.
Apart from the walls and the light, the room had a red sofa. The sofa stood just a bit aside from the center, not too large, quite faded, flooded with shimmering white light. This light made the sofa seem to be trembling a little, and the room trembled with it.
I prefer his cousin to Cassie Couch.
This is why I drink.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Ethan thought it would be way better if the sofa was standing right in the middle. And he felt something on his temple, a touch. He had to flinch, scream, stumble to the side, yet he couldn't. He was paralyzed. Only his eyes could move, and they desperately tried to reach beyond his field of vision. Where something was touching his temple. Ethan felt a faint flow of air, as if someone was whispering in his ear. He did hear the whisper, just one word. Ethan no longer remembered what the word was when he jumped up from his bed, gasping for air. Hope muttered something in her sleep and turned to the other side. It took a long time to get back to sleep, but by morning Ethan did pass out, and when he woke up, the dream wiped out of his mind pretty quick. The task at hand had interested him much more than some muck spilling out of his subconscious. He was thinking about the task while he was chewing on the morning toast, driving to the bank, and all the way back. It was just like a Christmas present waiting for its time in the closet. The more you tell yourself you shouldn't think about it, the more you do. At home, Ethan tried to stick to his plan, working on the project he was paid for, but ended up sitting over a single report for several hours. He couldn't squeeze out a letter. To hell with it. After all, he was almost done with his current project. It wouldn't be much of a problem if he presented the result a bit later on, would it? Besides, it was really time for him to get a breather. One can't be spending so much time in a world where madness, curse, and death are contagious. To hell with it, Ethan thought about it as he closed the files of the project he was paid for. There was plenty of information, but Ethan knew he would not get an answer right away. The accurate answers, just like the precious pearls, lay at great depths. He had to go down to the very bottom. Ethan was not afraid. He had done it many times. His counterpart might have to wait a week or so, but Ethan knew he'll manage to crack the riddle.
Why are all the couches getting creepy?
I don't know.
All of them.
It almost looks like a Van Gogh painting in the middle, or a painting of Van Gogh.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh, it's a little, like, Van Gogh painting.
What he didn't know is what else could be found at those great depths. At some point in this investigation, things started happening. He started hearing sparse phrases, even though he never turned on TV or radio, and Hope wasn't even at home. When he sat in front of the screen, once again trying to connect the dots in his research, he could feel someone looking at the back of his head. When he turned around, of course, there was no one in the room. Did you see that one? Eventually, he taught himself not to turn around. He just got angry, pushing fingers into his temples when the familiar feeling appeared. He started losing things. Or rather, things would disappear and then appear in the strangest of places. One day he found his pencil in the freezer, stuck to an immense meat briquette. Even when the briquette...
That's always a meat.
I know! Even when the briquette melted down, he couldn't pull the whole pencil out, and Ethan got it. All Ethan got was a bloody stump. At this point, he could stop and think of it, but got distracted by the coffee maker and mindlessly shoved the stump into the trash bin.
What an odd game so far.
There was something wrong with the shadows, too. They became sharper, thicker, and deeper, and it was the case in the whole apartment. Sometimes they moved. Of course, Ethan only felt like they were moving. It couldn't have been any other way. Ethan didn't really pay attention to any of this, just like he did with that dream he had. All that seemed very familiar, as he already experienced similar things during the periods of intense work, when his nervous system was exhausted by the workload. There always was a rational explanation, the stress, or those new, much more environmentally friendly light bulbs that Hope had installed all around the apartment. Besides, it's so easy to dismiss this sort of things when you're deeply invested into something. And this question really got Ethan involved. Every time he seemed to get it right, his thought went off. Like he was climbing a rock, but his safe ledge suddenly turned slippery, and the next thing he knew, he was at the bottom again. He never faced anything like that during his previous research. There were times he had to spend weeks or months looking for the right answers. Those were tricky cases, but at least he could always tell how his research is progressing. This time, he was stumbling in his tracks without knowing why, and that was all he could tell. Whew, thank you for doing the sound effects. You're saving me a lot of work, Em.
Oh, anytime. Let me know if you want me to take over too, by the way.
Yeah, if he doesn't shut up soon, I'll happily. The week was over, but he still had nothing to send back to his contact. In his reply, Ethan asked a couple of questions, not that he was really interested, just as a courtesy. And that's how their surprisingly exciting email conversation started. With this, Ethan's contact grew to be something more, something of a friend, maybe.
And this is how the I love you virus came to be.
He never asked how Ethan's work was progressing. This was a question Ethan asked himself, and the answer was never good for him. Of course, he started sleeping badly. Falling asleep was easy, but he woke up many times during the night, sometimes in a cold sweat. Ethan could not remember his dreams. That night, he woke up about 3 or 4 times. At first, Ethan was lucky enough to fall asleep almost immediately after he woke up. But at some point, his eyes got open again. This time, the sleep wouldn't come. I wish my name was Sleep.
Oh.
Ethan felt terribly thirsty. He found no slippers in the usual spot. A noise could wake up Hope, so he decided not to look for them, and only regretted when he approached the kitchen. The floor was bloody cold, so cold that Ethan unconsciously looked down.
Oh my.
I think you're back in it, Em.
Yes! Okay, we're getting the DLC after this.
What? And when he was looking up again, he saw a shadow. No doubt that shadow belonged to a woman. A naked woman.
Yeah, it's the best kind of woman.
Phantupped.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ethan could clearly see the points of her nipples as the shadow turned around. No wonder it's freezing cold here.
Is it cold in here or you have to see me?
The shadow moved slowly along the wall, floating in a rectangular pool filled with moonlight. She was dancing. She was dancing! And the humming silence in Ethan's ears was her music. Ethan was watching her, unable to move. He was paralyzed, just like back then in his dream. But he did not remember it. At that moment, he didn't remember anything at all. Couldn't think about anything at all. What is this? He felt an itch in his eyes and the momentary urge to blink. Aww!
No.
Oh, you ruined it. Urf.
Nothing, I was just talking to myself, being like, why can't my paralysis demons just be that? Just a naked dancing woman.
Yeah. My paralysis demon is definitely not a stupid, sexy cat girl.
Yeah.
For a fraction of a second, he could only see the thick, viscous darkness, and when he opened his eyes again, there was no shadow anymore. The glowing rectangle shifted in its place, and now lay on the kitchen floor at Ethan's feet. He could see the cold light flowing into the seams between the tiles on the floor. For some reason, he took a deep breath and then stepped forward into the rectangle of light. Nothing happened. And what was supposed to happen? What did he really see? Did he really see anything? He walked deeper into the room, much bolder, grabbed the decanter, and started to drink in big, greedy sips. Okay, Ethan. Water. Oh, was it a decanter of water? You don't decant. Okay. Water streamed down his chin and chest, hitting the tiles on the floor, and poured into the grooves of the seams. No, that wasn't a delusion. The kitchen was completely empty, and the floor felt warm again. And yet, it wasn't a delusion.
I wonder why there's a rock next to my name.
What?
Oh, on the Pokemon, there's a rock.
You might have got a gift. You might have got a evolution stone or something. Unless it was yeah. I don't think it was a gift. The gift usually shows up. Yeah, it doesn't show up anywhere there. And all this was begging for a rational explanation. That's why Ethan decided he should talk to Hope in the morning. Something changed. Wait, why did I click on here? Something changed. TV programming?
Oh.
What is this? I don't know what this is.
What are we watching?
Oh, that's a thick devil is made of clay and tomato soup, just like any human being.
What?
Okay. Next channel, please.
Hey guys, welcome to the Sham Wow.
You're gonna love my nuts. Interview with the devil. It's getting late, and then I come. She serves tomato soup.
What?
She used to serve other things, but not anymore. Just soup. I'm in the tomato soup. They both eat tomato soup. That's how I get in. I guess I clicked on the tomato soup thing. Did we die? Oh, this is a recipe to make tomato soup? Okay. Something changed. I don't know. I'm just clicking on the right things. February 13th. How about you do this one?
Yeah, February 13th. An awful day. I was crazy scared for Mom. She said I'll never have days off and we'll be watching. Oh, she said she'll have some days off and we'll be watching movies and eating waffles. She didn't. I love that. But she looked very sad and I don't know what to do. Make her waffles. Watch movies. I'll make her happy. April 24th. Nobody came to my birthday party except for my friends and Timo. No one came to my birthday party except for my best friend. Oh.
It's not even just best friends. All, like, did she want strangers to join at the party?
I'm so confused. Mom said I'll get real friends when I'm older.
Oh, maybe he or she's insane?
Oh, maybe. My friends are real, but still I'd love to have someone to hang out with. Oh, yeah, what if it's like imaginary friends? Oh, that's actually a valid point. I just have to wait for a bit, I guess.
Yun Yun. With Yun Yun's diary.
Oh, yeah.
Did you give anyone the apartment keys? You know, by chance?
What?
What? Hope froze with a cup at her lips and blinked several times. No, you were correct. Maybe you left it someone in.
What?
I didn't. No.
いきなりどうしたのよ
Thank you, Beavis. What's with those questions?
I feel like someone is visiting our place.
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. Oh, I hate people like that. Why do I have to be like this? It's been a while since I started noticing random things vanish, and yesterday I... Hope frowned. She looked at Ethan as if a toad had popped out of his mouth.
どう
Yesterday
したの
you... What?
Say it bluntly, answer evasively. Do we let her
Let's
know
be
we're
blunt.
crazy?
Yeah, let her know we're crazy.
Okay. I saw someone in our kitchen last night. Some girl.
She was stupidly naked.
Aggressively naked.
So aggressive.
The deep line on Hope's forehead disappeared. She leaned back in her chair and laughed, throwing her head back.
あーなんだそのこと
what a show you put on.
ね
Okay, fine, I confess.
あなたの
I
カップケ
did
ーキを
steal
こ
your
っそりもらっ
cupcakes.
ちゃったの
Oh, she stole our cupcakes naked!
I mean... Oh, sorry.
なんというか
I mean, what was I supposed to do?
最近全然会えてなか
I
ったか
barely
ら
see you lately, so sweet
甘い
pastries are my
お菓子
best
食べ
shot
る
to
の
get
を
some
楽し
fun
み
at
な
night.
感じでね
Oh, and she's pouty.
Wake me up then!
っていうかあの
Damn, I didn't realize you
カ
still
ップケーキの
remember
こと
that
まだ思って
cupcake
た
even
のね
existed.
びっくりしたわ冷蔵庫に3日くらい
Yeah,
入って
it'd
た
be lying around in the fridge for what? 3 days?
Hope glanced at Ethan, expecting him to start laughing, too. Yet he still looked very serious.
So what's you dancing last night?
She noticed for the first time that the whites of his eyes were pinkish and full of broken capillaries. It's kind of funny because the Canadian way, it's one of the weird things. Capillaries is how they say it in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we say capillaries over here. Just my mom was a doctor in both the spots, you know? So it was like weird meeting the people, so I always panic when that word shows up. Her smile slowly faded. Come on, maybe you've left the keys unattended
オフ
somewhere.
ィスにいるときはいつも
I always
そ
leave
ん
my
なと
keys
ころ
where
に鍵を置きっ
when
ぱ
I'm
な
in
し
the
にし
office,
て
but
た
I'm
け
pretty
ど
sure there are no
盗
cat
むような
burglars
人はいない
among my
のか
colleagues.
な
She said cat.
でも
Exactly.
確かにたくさん
Come
い
to
た
think
か
of
も
it,
しれ
we
ない
should have hired a bunch.
毎月持っている破産するリスクの
That
倍率を
balance the risk of going broke. That balance the risk of going broke. You have a monthly basis.
Yeah, the wording's a little weird sometimes, so don't feel bad.
Thank you.
You sure none of your colleagues would play a joke on us?
騙す
A joke?
ちょっと
Good God, Ethan, you look like you're about to eat me alive.
Sob.
Stop.
ついてそして信じ
Take a bite instead. Tastes better, trust me. Your buns.
Hope pulled her chair closer to Ethan and took his hand.
Yes!
仕事が終わったら
Please, I'm
休ん
promising
で
you'll take a break after that project of yours is finished.
気がおかしくなるのは
I mean, one psycho is enough for our family. What does that mean? You promise?
Ethan suddenly felt like a total idiot. A tired total idiot. A naked girl in his kitchen. Yeah, sure. He was probably overworked to the point where he started being delirious at times. Maybe even walked in his sleep. He squeezed Hope's fingers lightly. I promise. Sorry, I'm a moron.
Oh,
I probably stopped seeing the difference between dream and reality.
ローラに電話したらどう
why don't you call...
No. A shrink is the last thing I need right now. Bring me the decanter. My bad. Sure. But that'd be just too cruel. What I need to do is finish that project. After all the gears in my head will fall into place. I give you my word.
そんなこと言わないで
Don't be like that.
本格的な治療はいら
I
ない
mean, there's no need to start full-fledged therapy anyway.
専門家に相談したら
Sometimes talking through your worries with a professional is all it takes to feel better.
At least I shouldn't have pressed you on it. I get that you have enough problems on your own right now. How's it going in your new position? Hope rested her head on his shoulder and shrugged.
まだクビになってないわよ
Not fired yet, apparently.
まあまだ
Seriously, though, I haven't figured it out yet.
新しい仕事は面白い
Those new responsibilities are exciting, but I always feel like I'm 10 times slower than I should be.
数倍遅く
Oh, I get that.
するの
That's fair.
だから月末には
I should probably get ready for a nice fat piece of overtime by the end of the month.
Ethan kissed her forehead, closed his eyes, and squeezed the bridge of his nose. Can you even do that? I guess. Well,
Wait, what's it?
I'm not a head of a department as you. I'm not a head of a department as of yet, but I seem to have the same stuff on my plate. Just how you do not manage to pester me with stupid questions.
夜にはカップケーキを食べること
Why
にする
cupcakes at night?
イーさんもそうしたら
You should give it a try.
But she ate her cupcake. We can't.
I
Oh.
hope she gives us a replacement cupcake.
Hope poked Ethan's cheek a couple of times with her finger.
とにかく心配しないで
Anyway, don't worry.
鍵を誰にも渡した
I
りし
didn't
な
give
い
keys
か
to
ら
anyone, and the only cat anything I let inside was an actual stray cat.
Oh no.
Oh no.
ずっと二人でやってきたか
Now that I think of it, it's been ages since we had any company.
らもしかしたら
Oh, we are fucking the cat. Maybe we should.
Em. The
What?
cat? What cat? Hope sighed and pulled away.
とにかく働きすぎたり考えすぎたりしない
Please
で
don't get all worked up, okay?
少なくとも
At least I'm
私に
being
はいつ
open
でも
with you.
何でも話して心配しないで
Don't worry,
この子はいない
she
わ
didn't wander around.
Oh, we've talked this over already.
どういう意味
We talked over what?
何かまずいことで
The
も
fact
言
that
ったかしら
What I want doesn't really matter?
Damn it, Hope. This is my apartment and I...
今から一人でしょ
And you're staying here alone now.
Hope finished her tea in a couple of gulps.
行ってくるわ
I have to go to the office.
She stopped at the door, not turning around.
あの猫かわいそう
Sorry
だ
about the
った
cat.
あんなに痩せてたし
She was really skinny and I felt sorry for her.
まあ
I also feel sorry for myself, Ethan, because I'm lonely.
寂しいな本当に寂しい
Really lonely.
This time, Ethan felt like an angry idiot. He got up from the table and reached for Hope. Hope,
い
I...
いよ
Don't.
泣きそうだから
I will start crying.
もう本当に時間がないから
It'll take time, and I don't have any spare right now.
後でね
See you tonight.
See you tonight.
Aww.
And with that, break time.